Reading a book can be a spiritual practice. Absolutely. So if we think of a spiritual practice as something that helps open us up to knowing ourselves better, or opens us up to allowing our great divine knowledge and wisdom and love within our lives, helping us to move forward, create better lives, then yes, absolutely, reading is going to help us get there. And you know what? You don't have to sit down and read an entire book. It can take you 2 months to read a 100-page book if that's the way it has to be, or longer, actually. There's no rule about how fast you read, how hard the information is that you read. There's no rule about having to read something that's going to absolutely wow and amaze you. It just needs to provide just a little opening to think a little bit differently about life. So one way that I'd like to recommend, and there's several ways you can do this. There's actually 2 ways I'd like to recommend, but there's a million ways to do it outside of it. And actually, I often do book discussion groups, because once we read a material, we might not, first of all, we don't catch everything, and then we might not understand it, and discussing it with another person can help that. So right now I actually have a 4 Agreements book club going on. Of course, it's not going to last for more than another week, that new people can join. But it's awesome, because you've missed stuff when you read. That's just the way it is. Your brain reads it, and then it kind of disengages while it chomps on that information for a bit, even though you're still reading more. You're not fully comprehending it. So discussing it with other people helps a lot. But anyway, so there's two ways I recommend outside of discussing it with other people. One is having a morning practice where you just read a paragraph or a page or 2 pages out of something inspirational every day. So it might be a Chicken Soup for the Soul book, where they have just inspiring stories every day. And when you're done with that, just take a moment, think about an area of your life where there's some equal gratitude or inspiration in the story that you read, and carry it out into the day with you and see what happens with that day. Just read something inspirational. It also could be, a fabulous poem by Hafiz or Rumi, a piece by Meister Eckhart, or the Bible, Ernest Holmes. There's a lot of inspirational readings that are very short that you could do every morning. And then the other idea I have is every evening. Funny that. So in the evening, perhaps read a piece and actually journal on it. And of course you can journal in the morning, but if you journal on what you read and how you feel about it, and maybe how it was reflected during the day. So if you could do both morning and evening and set an intention for the day, and then come back in the evening and say, this is how my day worked out. I can't even tell you how spectacular it would be to see how your day, eventually you're going to see how your day plays out through your intention for the day. And it might take you a week or a month or so to recognize those patterns. You might see it the very first time you try it. But so those are just some short, easy recommendations to include study as a spiritual practice.